They talked about equality, freedom, human rights, but they didn't mean women. Olympe de Gouges noticed that, and she refused to accept it. She wasn't asking for special treatment. She wasn't asking to be above men. She was asking a simple question. If women can be punished by the law, why aren't they protected by it? This story matters because it exposes something uncomfortable. Women weren't excluded by accident. They were excluded by design. And when someone pointed that out, the system didn't listen. It silenced her. Olympe de Gouges lived in the 18th century France, a time when women were not seen as citizens, but as dependents, as property, as voices that didn't matter. She was born into modest circumstances. She didn't inherit power, education, or protection. Most women in her position were expected to marry, obey, and disappear into private life. Olympe chose something different. She educated herself. She wrote. She questioned the world around her. And in a society that punished women for thinking out loud, she refused to stay invisible. She wasn't fearless, but she understood the cost of silence, and she decided it was too high. The French Revolution spoke the language of justice, freedom, equality, brotherhood. It promised a new world, a fairer one. But that promise came with a condition. Those rights were written by men, for men. Women were expected to cheer from the sidelines. They could suffer under the law, but they could not shape it. Olympe de Gouges refused to accept that contradiction. She looked at the Declaration of the Rights of Man and asked a question no one wanted to answer. If men are born free and equal, then why aren't women? This wasn't a misunderstanding. Women weren't forgotten. They were never meant to be included. And when Olympe said that out loud, she didn't expose a flaw in the revolution. She exposed its limits. Olympe didn't just criticize the revolution. She responded to it. In 1791, she published her own declaration, not for men, but for women. She called it the Declaration of the Rights of Woman and of the Female Citizen. It wasn't symbolic. It was specific. She demanded that women be recognized as equal under the law, that they be allowed to vote, to hold political office, to own property, to decide over their own bodies. She argued that if women were expected to obey the law, they had the right to help write it. The reaction was immediate, and it was personal. They didn't argue with her ideas. They attacked her character, because that was easier. Pamphlets mocked her. Newspapers portrayed her as unstable. Men in power questioned her morality, not her arguments. She was ridiculed in public spaces, labeled arrogant for speaking, unnatural for thinking, dangerous for refusing silence. She became isolated. Allies distanced themselves. Support turned quiet. Not because she was wrong, but because standing next to her became risky. This is how systems protect themselves. They don't silence you immediately. First, they make you look unreasonable. Olympe knew what was happening. She understood the warning signs, and still, she kept writing. Eventually, the warnings turned into action. Olympe de Gouges was arrested, not for violence, not for conspiracy, but for her words. She was imprisoned, isolated, silenced in the place where her voice had always lived, on paper. Even there, she tried to write, to defend herself, to be heard. She wasn't given mercy. She wasn't protected by the principles the revolution claimed to stand for. In 1793, Olympe de Gouges was executed under the guillotine. She proved something dangerous. That rights mean nothing if they can be taken away based on who you are. Olympe de Gouges was not celebrated in her time. She was erased. Her name disappeared from history books. Her ideas lived on without her credit. Many of the rights she demanded would take decades, even centuries, to be recognized. Forgetting women like her isn't neutral. It allows us to believe that progress happened naturally, that it came without resistance, without punishment, but it didn't. Progress has always been forced forward by women who refused silence. Olympe de Gouges was one of them.